there's some rumors going around that Dillian Whyte may not be with Eddie Hearn for too much longer. But this was also the case a few years ago. I'm sure many of you remember when Dillian Whyte was shopping around for other promotional deals. And obviously, since that time, he did have that fight on BT Sport against Tyson Fury, but that's a world title fight against an A-side fighter, and he couldn't have got an opportunity anywhere else. Whereas the situation prior to that was one where Dillian Whyte was looking for a deal. Not necessarily a one-fight deal, but perhaps looking to work ongoing with a different promoter. And as I say, there's rumors that he's doing the same now. And these rumors may be fueled by Dillian Whyte coming out saying things such as the following. He said in a recent interview, quote, "I'm all right, but facing the usual BS. I just want to make some fights, but it's frustrating. Everyone was told, all the boxing fans, the winner of me and Franklin fights AJ. So this is a messed up thing. I would have been better off losing the Franklin fight and getting the AJ fight. It's no surprise to me that they have chosen April 1st for this battle of the fools. I faced Franklin, the most dangerous and undefeated version of him, and beat him. Eddie was promising him many millions to fight AJ if he beat me. It's protecting AJ because they all know if he loses again, he will probably jack it in and a lot of people will be left. Well, let me not try and say the rest of it here. So, yeah, Dillian Whyte apparently not happy, although I'm sure many cynical boxing fans who could be correct. You know, in a sport like boxing and in big business in general, you have to retain a certain amount of cynicism and skepticism because there is a lot of cynical things going on. So a lot of cynical people might say that this is just Dillian Whyte hyping a fight between him and AJ by saying that it's fitting that it's on April 1st for this pair of fools, and that maybe the reason that AJ is not going into an immediate Dillian Whyte fight is because they feel like it needs some building up. At the end of the day, many fans are of the view that both Dillian Whyte and AJ are on their last legs at this stage. It's last chance saloon for the pair of them, potentially. That's how many fans see it. And since that's the case, maybe the fight needs building up. You see what I'm saying? Maybe the promoters want to maximize the revenue that they're going to make from a Anthony Joshua Dillian Whyte fight because the loser might have to retire afterwards. He might not be a viable commercial entity anymore after the fight, depending on the way it goes. So, yeah, some people are going to say this is just trying to build up the fight, create hype, and so on. But other people, as I've seen, excuse me, online, are going to say that no, Dillian Whyte is genuinely upset here. He wanted to go straight into the AJ fight. He wanted to make all this money. He obviously sees AJ as vulnerable, perhaps more vulnerable than when they first fought. And maybe Dillian Whyte thinks that he's better than he was when they first fought. So, yeah, we'll see what happens here. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below about Dillian Whyte expressing discontent with regards to the Eddie Hearn relationship, or Eddie Hearn putting Anthony Joshua apparently in with Jermaine Franklin rather than in with Dillian Whyte. And he makes a good point with regards to Eddie saying that if Franklin won the fight, he'd get the AJ fight, but he lost and he still got it anyway. Dillian Whyte's like, yo, what's going on there? I think there's part of the quote I also missed here, if it's included in this article. He said, there's another thing Dillian Whyte said, quote, I know DAZN need content for their subscribers, but why choose to fight a low-profile American coming off a loss instead of having a massive British tear-up? Yeah, that's the part of the quote I missed. So, yeah, I mean, good point. Especially when Franklin was only promised to fight if he won, but he lost. But at the same time, this is another way to see it. And this is something Dillian Whyte is not considering. When Derek Chisora fought Robert Helenius, that was, I believe, from memory, some type of eliminator for Vitaly Klitschko, because Vitaly Klitschko held the WBC title at the time at heavyweight. Now, officially, Robert Helenius won, but most people felt like Chisora was dropped and that he actually clearly beat Robert Helenius. So Vitaly Klitschko, in fact, I'm not sure if it was an eliminator or whether Klitschko just gave Chisora No, because he never fought Hellenius, did he? I can't remember exactly the ins and outs of the sanctioned body situation. But what I do remember is that Hellenius was close to getting a title shot against Vitaly Klitschko. He fights Derek Chisora. Most people think Chisora beat him, but Hellenius gets the nod. And Vitaly Klitschko decided to give Chisora the fight rather than Hellenius. Okay? He felt as though, not necessarily that Chisora deserved anything. I don't know whether that was really the motivating factor, because of course Chisora had been promised a fight and had signed to fight Vladimir Klitschko, Vitaly's younger brother, a couple times prior, and Vladimir pulled out twice. And Chisora obviously was upset by that. That's the reason that he carried on with a load of antics for the Vitaly fight, taking it out on Vitaly. But yeah, moral of the story is, Vitaly, you would have thought, based on the result, would have fought Hellenius after that Hellenius-Chisora fight, because Hellenius got the W on his record, but no, he fought Chisora because the public felt as though Chisora won. You could, if you wanted to, see the Dillian Whyte, Jermaine Franklin situation the same way. Now, there is no way you could say that Jermaine Franklin, if you believe he beat Dillian Whyte, did so anywhere near as convincingly as Derek Chisora beat Robert Hellenius. You couldn't say that because that would not be realistic at all. But there are people who felt like Jermaine Franklin maybe nicked it by a couple rounds, a couple points. Yeah, that's perfectly reasonable to say. And therefore, some of you might feel that he deserves an AJ fight more than Dillian Whyte does. Does AJ feel that way? I don't know. Maybe Eddie Hearn is playing off the public perception, that Jermaine Franklin beat Dillian Whyte in the eyes of many. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think about it in the comments below. This whole saga, will Dillian Whyte decide to go in a different direction? I don't really see where he can go, because the AJ fight is really the best fight for him. It's going to be the biggest payday. Where else is he going to get a payday like that? He's not going to get a shot against Usyk anytime soon. If he fights any of the contenders like a Joe Joyce, a rematch with Joe Parker, he's not going to get the kind of money, I wouldn't have thought anyway, that he would get against AJ. So what else is he going to do? All he can do is take another Jermaine Franklin type fight, and if he manages to get through it, then just hope that the AJ fight can happen. Maybe he needs to put pressure on Eddie Hearn, and maybe that's what he is doing. Maybe all this talk about Dillian Whyte leaving and going with a different promoter is him trying to put pressure on Eddie Hearn to lock in that AJ fight, to maybe do a deal now, sign a deal now, to say if AJ comes through against Franklin, he gets guaranteed that fight with Anthony Joshua. So, yeah, anyway, I'll leave it there.
Are you sick and tired of the mainstream mindset? Does the dogmatic conformity and pathological ignorance have you tearing your hair out in frustration? Then don't be alone. Come and join our brotherhood on Patreon. We stand as a beacon of reason against an army of insanity. You'll gain access to my weekly topical podcast, where we take more deep dives than Jacques Cousteau on an endless variety of subjects. There's also videos, interviews, live Q&As, as well as a vast back catalogue of previous episodes, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen via the Patreon app or download in high-quality MP3. Connect with myself and hundreds of other members in our Element chat group. There's no contract, no commitment, you can cancel at any time, and it's cheaper than a Mickey D's McMuffin. Just head to my Patreon page via the link below this video and select the tier called the Brotherhood of Reason. I'll see you over there.